On News Hour tonight, Katsina government defends release of 70 banditry suspects. Poverty, insecurity keep children out of school in Kaduna. Benue pensioners threaten protests over unpaid arrears. And on the foreign scene, protests erupt in Iran amid fears of crackdown. Hello and welcome to the News Hour on Trust TV. I am Mariam Idris. Now, the Katsina state government has defended its decision to release 70 suspected bandits, describing the move as a strategic step to sustain a fragile peace accord with armed groups in the state. Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Nasir Muazu, said the decision followed judicial processes and was aimed at consolidating peace agreements in at least 15 local government areas affected by banditry. His explanation followed public outrage over a leaked January 2nd, 2026 letter indicating that the suspect's release was a key condition for the continuation of the peace deal. Muazu said the approach has led to the release of about 1,000 abductees, stressing that the action was part of conflict resolution efforts rather than a disregard for justice. The leaked letter, signed by the Director of Public Prosecutions, Abdurrahman Umar, requested judicial action under the Administration of Criminal Justice Law of Katsina State, 2021. While critics argue the move undermines the rule of law, Muazu said improved security has been recorded in local government areas, including Sabwa, Safana, Faskari, Damusa, and Duzama, adding that anyone dissatisfied could seek redress in court. Now, Katsina local councils negotiating with bandits has become one of the most talked about security moves in northwest Nigeria. Since mid-2025, at least 18 councils have entered peace talks with armed groups. The deals were meant to stop killings and kidnappings, but in some of those same councils, attacks returned. In this report, we take a closer look at what happened.
Many residents in Katsina say the deals gave them hope. Others say the calm did not last. In September of 2025, several frontline councils in Katsina State quietly began peace talks with bandit leaders. On September 15, councils like Faskari, Damusa, and Malumfashi met armed groups through traditional rulers and community leaders. The terms were simple: no more attacks, no more kidnappings, and release of captives. By October 12, 2025, the talks spread. Communities in Bagori, Kafur, Malumfashi, Kankara, and Funtua met bandit leaders again at Kakumi village. They agreed to stop raids and allow farmers return to their fields. By October of 2025, reports say about 18 councils were now on peace deals. They included Kankara, Malumfashi, Faskari, Jibia, Damusa, Bagori, Safana, Sabwa, and Kurfi. The Katsina state government said it was not directly negotiating. Officials described the talks as community-driven, but the goal was clear: buy peace and stop bloodshed. For a while, some towns went quiet, but the calm did not last. On August 19, 2025, armed men stormed a mosque in Ongwan Malumfashi local government area. At least 17 people were killed. Malumfashi was already on a peace deal. Then, on January 6, 2026, gunmen attacked villages in Malumfashi again. People were killed. Others were abducted. Homes and food stores were looted. Residents said the area had a deal, yet the gunmen returned. Security sources later confirmed bandit movement in other councils that had signed peace accords, including Kankara and Faskari. Critics say many of these agreements have no enforcement, no patrols, no punishment when bandits break the rules. Community leaders, on the other hand, say talks remain their only option in areas where soldiers are stretched thin. So while Katsina local councils negotiating with bandits has brought short breaks in fighting, the attacks in Malumfashi and other areas show the risks at hand. Without strong security to back these deals, peace remains fragile.
So joining us via phone call to discuss on the Katsina amnesty is a security expert, Abdullahi Hassan Kofar Sauri. Thank you for joining in.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now, from a security expert viewpoint, do you think releasing suspected bandits as part of a peace deal undermines justice, or is it a necessary step for regional stability?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, this is an unjust matter. It's not fair for somebody, especially the government, that is not part of the deal, to give somebody amnesty for a crime that has been committed against the community. So it's not, they are not predisposed to the release of convicted people who the court of law has convicted on the ground that they have committed serious crime against humanity.
Okay, will the release of these suspects lead to a noticeable improvement in security in the affected local government areas, like as claimed by the government?
Well, that is debatable. As far as I'm concerned, you cannot just use that as an excuse to release people that the government was not part of the deal. Just because the government has got there forward and they shut them down, proper couple of negotiations have taken place. But the government kept on saying so many times that they were not part of the deal. It was the local people, some local people in the various communities decided to take some of the bandits. Mind you, the bandits are not all in all. There are just some of them, not all of them. Because right now, banditry is taking place. So if something is taking place, it means that it's just very fair. And therefore the government cannot go ahead and release some people in a deal that it was not part of.
So Abdullahi, how do you respond to critics who argue that this move will set a bad precedent and compromises the rule of law? I mean, do you believe that this move compromises the rule of law, first off?
Indeed, it's very bad. The banditry is not the only crime that is happening. The criminals are in different fronts. Therefore, if you pick a particular aspect of crime and give them reprieve, simply because they are carrying arms and the government has time to not bring them to order, and then they blackmail the government and then insist that their colleagues that are in prison should be released. So it's something that has no guarantee it will continue. Because right now we all know in some of these local government, this is taking place. So if it's not taking place, if there's an amnesty in place, that moves a local government and there is none in Ankara or any other place, or even neighboring states, there is no guarantee to keep security for the people. Because everybody are coming outside that area to become a victim. So definitely a bad precedent is being set.
So now, is this a sustainable approach to tackling banditry, or does it risk emboldening criminals?
Pardon?
Is this whole report a sustainable approach to tackling banditry, or does it risk emboldening criminals altogether?
Well, in my own opinion, it really emboldens them. You see, because these kind of criminals are not an organized crime. In the end, I mean, they are so Republican. They do nobody cares about each other. They have different leaderships. Therefore, if somebody would just come out and intimidate the people, and at the end of the day, you release. So it is only on the ground for us.
Okay, Abdullahi, could there have been an alternative measure to secure the release of abductees without freeing suspected bandits? And what are the implications for future security deals?
Well, I'm not so much an expert in this business, but as far as I'm concerned, abductees are being abducted and they were being released under different rules. So if somebody says we have to release convicted criminals or to secure the release of 1,000 abductees, I'm sure there are more than, we don't even know, there may be 1,001 abductees in the books now. So if we release 7 criminals, convicted criminals, before the release of 1,000 abductees, I wonder what happens to the other abductees that are being abducted every day and every month. So you see, it's not a solution. And as far as concerned, the responsibility of securing the people is in the government. And from what we have been hearing, the state government had always been saying that their priority number 1 is security. Their priority number 2 is security. Their priority number 3 is security. Well, we have not seen it yet. If that is this security, I mean, the security issue is number 3 priorities, I wonder why they should spend their money somewhere else. Whatever they can, whatever is possible, to secure the community. Because that's the priority. Building highways, black overs, and do so many other things is not the priority. You see. So definitely the government has the responsibility to find a way take us out of this problem.
All right, Abdullahi Hassan Kofasari, thank you very much.
Thank you, and to you, please. Thank you.
Moving on, more than 10 people, including a servant councillor, are feared dead following fresh violence between farmers and herders in Donga local government area of Taraba State. The councillor, who represented Akete ward, was reportedly killed during the clash in Gundom village on Saturday. A resident, Lawal Adamu, told Daily Trust that the violence began after a herder allegedly led his cattle into a farm. The farmer was said to have killed the herder for destroying crops, triggering reprisal attacks between the two groups. The fighting reportedly claimed several lives, including the councillor who hails from the affected village. Police spokesperson ASP Victor Mishaliza confirmed the incident, but said only 3 bodies and a wounded woman had so far been recovered by security operatives. He added that the divisional police officer in Donga is leading a team to search a nearby forest to determine the full number of casualties. And now a video has surfaced showing 2 men allegedly kidnapped by Boko Haram in Borno State, appealing for help to secure their release. One of the captives, former Biu local government chairman Hassan Biu Miringa, said the insurgents are demanding a total of $300,000.
My name is Hassan Biu Miringa. I am a former vice chairman of Biu local government, serving from 2020 to 2022, almost 4 years ago. I was abducted on December 17, 2025, around 2 to 2:30 p.m. while traveling from Miringa to Maiduguri. We encountered kidnappers who abducted us. Today marks 14 days we have spent in captivity. We are grateful to God that we are still alive.
Ni sunana Hassan Biu Miringa, tsohon mataimakin karamar hukumar Biu a shekarar ta 2000.
My name is Hassan Biu Miringa. I am a former vice chairman of Biu local government, serving from 2020 to 2022, almost 4 years ago. I was abducted on December 17, 2025, around 2 to 2:30 p.m. while traveling from Miringa to Maiduguri. We encountered kidnappers who abducted us. Today marks 14 days we have spent in captivity. We are grateful to God that we are still alive. However, we are appealing for help to secure our release. We have negotiated with the kidnappers and we have agreed on the terms. We urge our leaders, especially our Deputy Governor Umar Usman Kadafur, and our mentors to consider our situation. We are their people, and we have always stood with them. We plead for forgiveness if we have done anything wrong, and we request their assistance in paying the ransom of $150,000 each for the two of us, totaling $300,000. We hope you will listen to our plea and help us.
The Kogi State Police Command says scores of bandits have been neutralized in the fresh joint security operation involving the police, the military, and the Nigeria Police Air Wing. Police spokesperson William Aya said the operation also dismantled several criminal networks, though the exact location was not disclosed for security reasons. He urged residents to remain vigilant and report anyone with gunshot wounds, injuries, or suspicious behavior to the nearest police station. The command also called on the public to provide credible information to support the ongoing operation against criminal elements in the state. The operation comes amid rising bandit attacks in parts of Kogi State. And now the Plateau State government, in collaboration with security agencies, has rescued travelers abducted on December 21st in Zak community, Bashar district of Wasi local government area. The victims, including men, women, and children, were on their way to Saban Lai for a Maulud event when they were intercepted and kidnapped. The abductors initially demanded 1.5 million naira per person, later reducing it to 30 million naira for all victims and 3 motorcycles, before finally settling on 1.5 million and 1 motorcycle per person. Now, Secretary to the state government, Samuel Jatau, confirmed the rescue at the government house on Saturday, saying swift intervention by security agencies ensured the safe release of the victims. He added that the state government will hand them over to the local council and provide support.
We were able to rescue some of our kidnapped children, about 25 of them in number, who were kidnapped on the 21st of December, if you recall, in Wase local government council to be precise, along Zak Sabonlai road at about 7 p.m. in the evening. They were traveling as a group for Maulud celebrations, and this group of kidnappers pretended to be vigilante on the road. And as they stopped for the normal checks and discussions, it happened that these were kidnappers. They kidnapped them and they took them to an unknown destination. But since that time, the government and the security agencies have not rested. They've tried all they could over the Christmas period to ensure that they bring the safe return of these children. And to the glory of God, I'm happy to inform you that yesterday evening, the security agencies called to say they have tracked and have rescued all 25 children, hale and hearty. Out of these 25, 6 are female, 19 are male. And they are all here with us in the hall. They've been subjected to medical checks and tests to find out that they are okay, apart from the minor sores and wounds on their feet because they had been trekking. I think the only thing that we will advise the local government to do when they get custody of these children is to ensure that they follow up with psychological traumatic tests for some couple of weeks to be able to manage them to come back properly to their homes. But outside that, I think they're hale and hearty and they're fine. To clarify that 25 abducted children from Wase have been returned safely. Though in the media it has been reported that they were 28. What happened is they were actually traveling 28 number. But at the point of abduction, 3 of the 28 people escaped and they were not abducted. So it meant that it was only 25 that were kidnapped. And those 25 are today hale and hearty and here with us.
The commander of 1 Brigade, Nigerian Army Gusau, Brigadier General Mustafa Jimo, has said terrorist and banditry activities in Zamfara State have reduced to the barest minimum, assuring residents of improved safety across the state. Speaking with newsmen at the 2025 West Africa social activities organized by the 1 Brigade Command in Gusau, Jimo said sustained military operations under Operation Fansanyama have significantly enhanced security, allowing residents and commuters to travel freely without fear of attacks. Represented at the event by the State Commissioner for Works, Lawal Barrow, Zamfara State Governor Dauda Lawal commended the Nigerian Army for restoring peace, praising officers and soldiers of 1 Brigade for their gallantry and dedication under Operation Fansanyama. In his address, Brigadier General Jimo described the West Africa social activities as a platform for strengthening cordial relations between the military and the civilian population in a relaxed and convivial atmosphere. He emphasized that the improved security situations is the result of collaboration between the military, other security agencies, and local communities. The event also featured the presentation of prizes to outstanding soldiers and a tug-of-war competition involving personnel from the Nigerian Army, the Department of State Services, and the Federal Road Safety Corps. And poverty and insecurity are preventing many parents from sending their children back to school as the new academic session begins across Nigeria. The situation is not limited to urban centers. Families displaced by banditry and violence across northern states are now struggling to survive, with education becoming a distant priority. Some internally displaced persons who relocated to Kaduna say many of their children are no longer in school because they can barely afford daily meals. Now, Trust TV's Bella Musa visited the affected communities and now reports.
Attacks on communities, schools, and the abduction of students have become a recurrent problem in northern Nigeria. In December 2025, renewed attacks heightened national concern over the safety of schools and students, forcing the closure of several schools in security-prone areas. In Marabanjos, Kaduna, school resumption is only a story for many displaced parents now living in poverty and trauma after fleeing their communities. Safia Idris relocated to this community after bandits attacked her village in Katsina State. She now struggles with her husband to feed their children, leaving no money for school.
It was an elderly woman in the compound where I live who gave me 1,000 naira to enroll my children in Islamia school. I gave birth to only one daughter in the village before bandits displaced us from our community to this one where I had the other children.
Lawal Ibrahim was displaced from Sabo local government area of Katsina State, weak and distressed. He says education is no longer a priority when survival is uncertain. My children don't go to school, neither Islamia nor conventional school. I don't have money, so I can't send them to school. Their stories reflect the reality of thousands of families whose children's education has been disrupted by insecurity. Education expert and administrator Sanusi Rajo warns that the situation is a serious setback for the North and could lead to long-term consequences if urgent steps are not taken.
Since the problem arises that is in Kebbi and Niger State, the federal government announced the closure of schools, which affects some states, or almost all the states in Nigeria. But till now, nobody can come out and tell you what are the plans done that can be seen available to the people. That the federal government has made, or the state government or local government have made adequate plan to protect these children in their schools.
Although the government has introduced initiatives such as the Safe School program to protect learning institutions, security consultant Muhammad Ali says stronger intelligence sharing and community involvement are needed, especially in rural communities.
We have to look at the vulnerability and criticality of all the institutions, both tertiary and secondary. Then we sit down and do a very thorough analysis as to the vulnerability and criticality of the institutions. That will determine the kind of defense system that will be put in place. That way, I believe, will come to an end of a situation where state governments will close down schools. And the closure of schools, as far as I'm concerned, is a very defeatist tendency. It's given the bandits the audacity to feel, oh, they are above government, or government is afraid of them. This should not happen. It must not happen again.
No fewer than 723 schools have been closed across 9 states due to insecurity. Experts are calling on the government to deploy more security to schools and provide support to displaced families to prevent a total collapse of education in the region. Bella Musa, Trust TV News Kaduna.
In Rivers State, Governor Siminalayi Fubara has appealed to residents to remain calm as the State House of Assembly moves to impeach him. The governor spoke on Sunday during a church service in Port Harcourt to mark the 2026 Armed Forces Remembrance Day. He expressed confidence that the situation would be resolved. Fubara said his silence so far was deliberate, noting that his strength and resilience come from his faith in God. Referring to the comments he made during the New Year banquet, he said, "Dogs bark when they do not understand." The Deputy Governor, Ngozi Odu, also urged the public to act responsibly and continue praying for the administration, describing prayers as a key source of strength and the government.
This congregation, that what I started, I want to finish it well. I requested my deputy to read my lesson. So I want her to speak to us. You know, this ticket is a joint ticket.
Meanwhile, the Rivers State House of Assembly says no court order can stop the ongoing impeachment process against Governor Siminalayi Fubara. The chairman of the House Committee on Information, Enemi Alabo George, alleged that individuals linked to the executive arm of government are plotting to obtain an ex parte court order to halt the Assembly's constitutional duties. He said such an order, reportedly being sought from a high court outside Port Harcourt, would be unconstitutional and dead on arrival. George added that the governor and his deputy, who have been served with allegations of gross misconduct, should respond to the charges instead of attempting to undermine the process. The lawmakers cited sections 272, subsection 3, and 188, subsection 10 of the Constitution, as well as Court of Appeal rulings, which they said bar courts from interfering in impeachment proceedings. They urged those behind the alleged plot to allow the constitutional process to take its course. And now the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has dismissed criticisms surrounding his political choices, saying politics is guided by interest, power, and the will of the people, not emotions. Wike made the remark on Sunday during a thank-you visit to Obio Akpo local government area, his political stronghold in Rivers State, where he addressed supporters and political leaders. The minister said his entry into politics was deliberate, stressing that he chose to be a politician, not a pastor, trader, commentator, or journalist. He urged his critics to allow him to pursue his political ambitions, noting that acknowledging support is a core principle of leadership. Wike also said President Bola Tinubu understands his political value and does not need external influence to make decisions. Experts in Bauchi State have urged the federal government to review its policies on tackling food crisis in Nigeria as climate change continues to affect wheat production across the country. They spoke to Trust TV on the need to strengthen dry season farming as a strategy for improving agricultural output and ensuring a sustainable future. Trust TV's Adamu Imam reports.
Agricultural experts say wheat farming is one of the major dry season crops suited to Nigeria's climate conditions, but it requires careful planning and technical support to achieve bumper harvest. They explained that the wheat cultivation cycle usually runs between November and February. However, they note that unpredictable weather patterns and inconsistent government agricultural policies have negatively affected wheat farming, particularly in northern Nigeria.
Actually, it has been a source of concern to us, this northern part of the country. Normally, by this time, as from November, when the planetary winds will change direction to northeast trade wind, that's the one that will normally pass through Sahara Desert, comes with cold season. Any sign of harmattan and cold, that's a sign that the season has changed. But to our surprise this year, there was no harmattan and the cold is not there. And we can't say it's not winter time.
When you are looking at the problems that is coming up, I think federal government should wake up. Now, they form livestock ministry. I don't think the ministry will come out with a very concrete solution to that problem. Only Bauchi State, the registered or documented farms that were destroyed was 220. Times 6 times 19 or 20, including Abuja. I'm talking about the northern state. And times 6 is about 4,000 plus. So if we are losing 4,000 to animals, what do you expect? Insecurity in the area of food is coming in.
Meanwhile, wheat farmers said the high cost of farm inputs remains a major challenge, especially for small-scale farmers. They also stressed the need for climate-resilient seeds to improve yields and reduce losses caused by changing weather conditions.
Farming, but even the environment at large. But specifically for wheat farming, being crops that requires cold temperature. So this global warming affected decisively, because if you can see it, the way you can see it, the way it's grow, it's not very strong. Especially look at it. All this is affected by the global warming.
I have spent 8 years engaged in dry season farming, particularly wheat farming. However, we are yet to see the impact of government support here. The so-called agricultural palliatives are not forthcoming in Gwelaga Mayaki. We have always heard that the government provides palliatives for farmers, and we won't stop trying our best. But we haven't seen anything. We are appealing again to be considered in this regard. Farmers and experts are now calling on authorities at all levels to strengthen partnership with real farmers and agricultural stakeholders in order to address food insecurity across the country. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
This is the News Hour on Trust TV. Coming up after the break. Benue pensioners threaten protests over unpaid arrears. More news when we return. Just stay with us. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, you're watching the News Hour on Trust TV. Now let's take a recap of our major stories again. Katsina government defends release of a 70 banditry suspect. Poverty, insecurity keep children out of school in Kaduna. Now moving on to more stories. The Nigerian Union of Pensioners, NUP in Benue State, has issued a 14-day ultimatum to Governor Hyacinth Alia over unpaid pensions arrears, gratuities, and failure to harmonize pensions, threatening a two-day peaceful protest in Makodi. In the letter dated January 7, 2026, signed by Chairman Michael Vembe and Secretary Satabo Nyamgen, the union said local government pensioners are owed 96 months, while state pensioners are owed 42 months in arrears inherited from previous administrations. The union also alleged discrimination in the payment of 5-month arrears approved by the governor, noting that local government pensioners were excluded. NUP further criticized the state government for failing to harmonize pensions to the 32,000 naira minimum pension and align with 70,000 naira minimum wage, warning that some retirees earn as little as 2,000 naira monthly. The pensioners said failure to meet their demands by January 21, 2026 would trigger protest on January 22nd and 23rd at the Pension Commission, Bureau for Local Government Affairs and Government House in Makodi. Operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, have arrested an 80-year-old former convict, Jeremiah Isaiah Nkanta, in Abak local government area of Akwa Ibom State, with 5.7 kilograms of skunk cannabis. NDLEA spokesman Femi Babafemi said Nkanta was previously convicted for drug trafficking in December 2022 and served a 2-year jail term. In a separate operation, NDLEA officers intercepted 37-year-old businessman Ani Onyebuchi Romans along the Oron Ibaka Road. He was found conveying a 5.3 kilograms of tramadol pills concealed inside full-body mannequins, allegedly destined for Cameroon. Skin rashes are common and can appear on any part of the body. Because everyone's skin is different, proper diagnosis and treatment are important. Now, a consultant dermatologist has urged individuals experiencing skin rashes to seek professional medical care rather than self-medicating with over-the-counter products. Victoria Tokolo reports from Lagos.
Skin rashes affect people in various forms, with the most common being seborrheic dermatitis, also known as eczema. The fungal inflammatory condition appears as reddish, scaly, and itchy patches, especially on oily areas such as the face, hands, legs, and back. Medical experts stress that individuals should consult healthcare professionals for proper diagnosis and treatment rather than relying on self-medication. Consultant dermatologist Dr. Hanaba explains that seborrheic dermatitis is caused by a fungal organism naturally present on human skin. While harmless to moist, it can trigger inflammation in some individuals, resulting in rashes often mistaken for heat rashes. Another common skin condition is atopic dermatitis, a chronic inflammatory skin disease marked by intense itching, redness, dryness, and scaly patches, often linked to a family history of allergies. It can persist if not properly managed. Dr. Hanaba urges that professional guidance is essential to identify the specific condition and prescribe suitable skincare products, warning that improper treatments can worsen skin problems. Health professional Gilbert Ogbewele also emphasized that patients should obtain skincare treatments only from qualified medical professionals to ensure safety and effectiveness.
So whatever rash you have on the skin, whatever you want to call it, eczema or the things I just said, please do not put any triple action cream on the skin. Now, what's a triple action cream? So when you are applying something that has a steroid, it has an antibiotic, it has an antifungal. that is a triple action cream and it's not good for the skin. First of all, the steroid in it, because you're itchy and there's an inflammation, it will calm the skin down. But in the process of calming the skin down, it actually allows whatever else is growing on the skin to grow more. That's one. And number two, you can be at a risk for the side effects from the steroid, because most of these creams actually, they contain high potency steroids.
When it comes to the matter of skincare and skincare products, my advice would be that people should consult with their dermatologist, right? I believe that we have modern advances in the world and even in Nigeria today where people are able to go to see the dermatologist and they are able to just know more about their skin, the kind of skin that they have, and the best products for their skin. So I would not advise that someone walks into a supermarket or a store and pick up any product and just use. My advice would be that they consult a dermatologist who will then be in the best situation to guide them on what skin products will be best for their skin. Yeah.
Lagos residents echo the importance of seeking professional care for skin conditions. Many share the experiences, highlighting how consulting qualified dermatologists helped them manage rashes effectively.
When I have rashes on my neck, I don't want to say the medication. I have to go to a pharmacy and they give me antibiotics, that is Septrin, then and the cream to apply. Then after using it, and within some few days, it is clear.
Some people in their houses, there's heat everywhere, and when they get rashes, some people just use maybe some people just use Kakatine, Ori, Vaseline, or anything. But what they don't know is that they are meant to seek medical attention first before they use anything, because of when they're using that, they can use overdose of it. And some people, they don't have the same skin. What I have is not what they have. We have the same flesh, but it is different. What work for me cannot work for them.
For any skin condition, it is better to consult a dermatologist for proper diagnosis and treatment. Professional medical attention not only promotes faster recovery, but also saves time, reduces unnecessary expenses, and safeguards overall skin health.
In another news, the Catholic Bishop of Yola Diocese, Most Reverend Stephen Daimi Mamza, has criticized the federal government's newly introduced tax reforms. Bishop Mamza said the policies were rolled out without adequate preparation, public enlightenment, or proper sensitization to help Nigerians understand their purpose and long-term impact. He warned that introducing major economic reforms without proper communication could worsen the hardship many citizens are already facing. The bishop called on the government to prioritize dialogue, transparency, and public education when implementing policies that directly affect the livelihoods of Nigerians.
No adequate preparation, even from the government. There has not been adequate preparation, no sensitization. It's just within 2-3 weeks, people started hearing about the new tax. I think the government really needs to go back to the drawing board. People need to be sensitized. Even if you ask government officials, even if you ask those working in the tax offices, they don't even understand the tax law. So there has not been adequate sensitization as regards what the tax law is all about. So my suggestion is that even if something is going to be introduced as new, there should be sensitization first. People should be able to be educated. Let them know what they are going into. Let them know what the government wants to implement. Even the government does not even understand from all indication. So I think there is a need for the government to understand, the public to understand, and so that at least when it comes to the implementation, it won't be an issue for the government and also for the people.
A massive fire broke out early Sunday at the Guangdong Free Trade Zone in Igbesa, Ogun State, spreading from an industrial facility to nearby residential areas. Videos from the scene showed thick black smoke and intense flames engulfing factory buildings as residents fled for safety. although authorities have yet to confirm the cause. Residents told newsmen that the fire may have started from a gas explosion at a foam-producing company inside the industrial park. Several homes were reportedly damaged before firefighters arrived. The director of the Ogun State Fire Service, Fatai Adefala, confirmed the incident, saying emergency teams were on the ground. So far, there are no confirmed reports of casualties or injuries. Abacha, popularly known as African salad, is a traditional delicacy widely enjoyed across the eastern region of Nigeria. While preparation methods vary among states and tribes, the key ingredient remains cassava. Speaking to Trust Television, sellers of this beloved dish shared insight on the ingredients and preparation that make Abacha unique. The report.
These thin, white strands of shredded, dried and fermented cassava are the main ingredients used in preparing Abacha, also called African salad. This traditional delicacy is widely consumed throughout Nigeria's eastern states. Another essential ingredient is a locally prepared thickening agent called ungwo, made from ashes of palm kernel stalks. To prepare ungwo, the stalks are dried for about 3 days, burnt into ashes and sieved. The ashes are then soaked in water and the floating solution is used to thicken the sauce, giving Abacha its distinctive taste. While some sellers use potash, known locally as akanwu, most prefer ungwo for its authentic flavor.
Burning it is when you cut palm kernel, then you remove the palm kernel from from the body, then you keep the remaining that thing that you remove from the palm kernel, the sharp. Then maybe 2 or 3 days you burn it fire.
It's cassava with garden egg leaf. There is onion, we put onions and garden egg. The sauce is ungwo. We call it ungwo. We use red oil and some people use potash to make their own, but it's ungwo we are using to make it. There's crayfish inside and pomo with pepper.
Consumers of Abacha also shared why they continue to enjoy the delicacy, even outside their home regions. Many say it is affordable and allows them to connect with their cultural roots.
A plate is 1,000 with 2 pomo 1,000. If you are buying with fish, it's like 1,800 or 1,500.
And this, as you can see, I have a native food on my hand, called African salad or Abacha. As you see, this is our native food, and we don't joke with it. It's made up of cassava and pomo, pepper, onions, and our native leaves, like the chawa, as we call it.
Okay, I'm buying African salad because it is something I grew up with knowing as a child from the eastern part of the country, from the eastern part of in Nigeria. So this African salad is what the Igbos eat more. You know, we eat it because it is nutritious. It is made of cassava, and we use different type of leaf or different type of veggies to prepare it.
African salad is the best now. It's the best for us. Even rich man, they eat it. Like me now, this afternoon now, I don't have up to 1,000 in my hand. I have to go for Abacha, 500. And I immediately ate the Abacha. I drank 2 pure water on it, so I'm okay. Abacha is a very nice food that everybody can eat. It's our Africa. We should not throw away our culture in Nigeria, because all those big men, they eat American salad. But we eat Abacha. This is our African salad. It's the best.
For many living in Lagos, Abacha offers more than just a meal. It is a taste of home, a link to their village, and a culturally rich experience that remains affordable despite being far from their hometown.
Business. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has projected that the price of premium motor spirit petrol could rise to about 950 naira per litre in 2026. In its 2026 macroeconomic outlook, The CBN based the forecast on an average crude oil price of $55 per barrel, an exchange rate of about 1,400 naira to dollar, and domestic crude production of 1.5 million barrels per day. The bank said improved FX market efficiency, stronger capital inflows, and increased domestic refining capacity would help stabilize supply and moderate energy costs. CBN also projected headline inflation to slow to 12.94% in 2026, down from an estimated 21.26% in 2025, citing easing fuel and food prices. Currently, Dangote Refinery's gantry price stands at 699 naira per litre, while retail price is at Amara's oil is 739 naira per litre. However, Dangote has warned that petrol prices could rise to 1,400 naira per litre if Nigeria returns to heavy fuel imports. And away from Nigeria, fresh anti-government protests have erupted across Iran despite a nationwide internet shutdown, as rights groups warn that security forces are carrying out a deadly crackdown on demonstrators. The protests, which began over rising living costs, have evolved into a broader challenge to Iran's clerical leadership and have now entered their second week. They represent one of the most serious threats to Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei's rule in years. Videos circulating online showed large crowds protesting in cities including Tehran and Mashhad, with reports of vehicles set ablaze. Even as authorities restricted communications, human rights activists, a US-based group, said it had confirmed 116 deaths, including security personnel, but warned the toll could be far higher due to the internet blackout. The Center for Human Rights in Iran also reported credible accounts suggesting that hundreds of protesters may have been killed nationwide. Rights groups say the information blackout is hindering verification, while fears grow over the scale of the crackdown. And in sport, Algerian captain Riyad Mahrez has backed Nigeria to go far at the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations after Algeria's quarterfinal exit. The Desert Foxes were beaten 2-0 by the Super Eagles on Saturday, while Victor Osimhen and Akko Adams scoring the goals that sent Nigeria into the semi-finals. Speaking after the match, Mahrez praised the quality and depth of the Nigerian team, saying they have a good chance of winning the tournament. Nigeria, who are chasing a fourth AFCON title, will face Morocco in the semi-finals, while Egypt take on Senegal in the other last four clash. And with that, we've come to the end of the news hour on Trust TV. Do not forget to follow us across all our social media platforms and also join our YouTube live stream for more news. I am Mariam Idris. Thank you for watching.